in, everybody. Little bit of a bonus Saturday afternoon edition of the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Torres. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's having a great day. By the way, if for some reason you cannot hear me, let me know. But we are live, immediate reaction to what was both a stunner, not really a stunner if you listen to the Aaron Torres pod, but we are live reacting to just an unbelievable game in Providence, Rhode Island. Final score, you already know the deal. Arkansas beats St. John's. I believe the final score was 75-66. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, what a game it was. So everybody come on in immediate reaction. I'm obviously hosting Fox Sports Radio. We'll have wall-to-wall coverage of the games tonight. So no live Aaron Torres pod, but I figured, screw it. We just got the game of the tournament, a game that was hijacked by the refs. We got the story of the tournament as John Calipari, everybody threw dirt on his grave. I'm not going to lie, I may have done it in the middle of the season as well, but Arkansas wins. Arkansas beats St. John's. John Calipari beats Rick Pitino, and we're just going to do some quick, immediate reaction. Before we get started, a couple quick reminders. One, make sure you're subscribed to Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. We are not slowing down anytime soon. All tournament long, into the offseason, portal, coaching changes, transfers, this, that, the other thing. Make sure you're subscribed. Also, make sure you're subscribed on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to subscribe. Also, before we get started, I do want to make a couple quick reminders. First of all, one, we do have to thank our friends. We do have to thank our partners. We do have to thank BetUS and BetUS TV. Okay, reminder, BetUS TV, they have been an unbelievable partner of the Aaron Torres pod. They took us to Phoenix. They are taking us to San Antonio this year, where we might just see the Hogs, the way they're playing. We'll see if that happens. But we are, BetUS is just an unbelievable partner, okay? It's that time of year. We got not only college basketball, but spring training baseball into Major League Baseball. We have hockey and NBA, and BetUS TV is the spot that you want to be. Wall-to-wall coverage of every sport that you love. They just take care of you. They got analysis, smart, you name it. The College Hoops crew with my buddy Corby, with Jeff Nadeau, formerly of Barstool, is unbelievable. So make sure to follow BetUS TV. Incredible partner. Again, they're taking us to San Antonio. We cannot thank them enough for their support. By the way, speaking of great partners, real quick, hey, Arkansas fans, you might be getting on a flight to San Francisco here over the next couple weeks, next couple days, I should say. How about this? You're going to want SeatGeek. So SeatGeek.com, it is the #1 rated ticketing app on the internet, not just for games, but for tickets, for concerts, for events, for this, for that, the other thing. Well, SeatGeek is the spot that you want to go. Best part is they have a special offer for listeners of the Aaron Torres Pod and Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. $20 off your first purchase when you use promo code Torres. Okay, it's that simple. SeatGeek, download the app at checkout, use promo code Torres, you get 20% off. By the way, if you're not going to NCAA tournament games, if you're going to a concert, you're going to a baseball game, a hockey game, whatever, you can still use the same promo code. It's not only applicable for March Madness, but thank you to SeatGeek, a partner of the Aaron Torres Pod. With that said, there's nothing else to say. There's no more time to waste. Again, a quick bonus episode because I will not be able to go live here on Saturday night. No more time to waste. So let's get to the topic of the day. The topic of the day, I mean, what are we talking about? What is the topic of the day? The topic of the day, Arkansas, St. John's, Pitino, Calipari. Listen, I'll say this. As soon as the bracket came out, I was adamant that this was a game that Arkansas could potentially win, that this was a team that St. John's did not want to see. And, well, we got a result that is both surprising but also not totally surprising if you listen to this show. And with the final result, again, now final, I just got one question for you, baby, and that is this. Can anything stop the Big Pig invasion? Can anything stop the Big Pig invasion? Make sure you're following our Torres on the Hogs account. Make sure you are following our Torres on the Hogs account for live, late-breaking coverage of all things Arkansas. Nothing can stop the Big Pig invasion as it is headed to San Francisco this weekend. Listen, in terms of this game, Listen, let me start by saying this. The story I hate, besides the fact the Calipari redemption, whatever, the story I hate to say it was the refs. I mean, listen, you don't have to be biased. You don't have to have bias. You don't have to be an Arkansas fan, St. John's fan. I mean, I literally had people that don't even really watch college basketball texting me, is the refereeing always this bad? Am I missing something? Is it me? Is it this? Is it that? And I think that was a little bit of a disappointing thing about what we saw on Saturday. 2 Hall of Fame coaches, bunch of NBA players. We finished the game. Let me figure this out here because I'm doing this all on the fly. We finished with 44 total fouls. We finished this game with 48 free throws in this game, and it sucked both ways. Let's just call it what it is. This isn't an Arkansas thing. This isn't a St. John's thing. Kadari Richmond fouled out. It was nonsense. Big Z fouled out for Arkansas in basically no time on the floor. Jonas Adu, by the way, we're going to talk about Cal in a second, but Jonas Adu in and out of the game all game long because they had to just keep him out of the game. You know, they just had to keep pulling him in the situation that basically that, you know, like if he gets his 5th foul, we're screwed. I think he picked up maybe his 4th, like 3 minutes into the second half. So the referees sucked for both games. Okay. But at the end of both teams, but at the end of the day, I think everyone, probably even St. John's fans, would agree the right team won, the better team won. And yeah, this is a moment in time that is a little bit of a coronation for John Calipari. We'll get to Cal specifically in a minute. But to me, I'll be real. As soon as this bracket came out, you can go back to the Sunday night recap show. I said it on the show. I had St. John's fans mad at me. I said, Arkansas is the one team that John Calipari or that Rick Pitino wants nothing to do with. And the reason why was a lot of what we saw. What does St. John's want to do? They want to beat you up. They want to be physical. They want to do whatever. And they want to basically turn it into a street fight. And they have been so good at that in Big East play. And I kept saying, you look at some of these Big East teams, you look at Creighton, Marquette, UConn. Listen, I love my Huskies, but you have a super complex offense with a lot of cutting, a lot of moving, a lot of this, a lot of that. It puts you in position for St. John's to dictate the game by just beating the crap out of you. And the one thing about Arkansas, one, they're not afraid of a street fight. But 2, on top of it, here's the other variable as well, is the fact that basically the way that Cal does things, the way that he runs offense, it's pretty simple, right? All I hear about is the negative about John Calipari's offense, and it's not modern, it's not this, and it's not that. Well, guess what? Guess what? Is that what they do? They put the ball in their playmakers' hands. They try to get them downhill. They try to get a shot on the rim. They try to get offensive. That's how you beat St. John's. Just get downhill, try to get fouled, try to get to the foul line, try to shoot free throws, try to get offensive rebounds. And I said, I really did think this was a bad matchup for St. John's. And I'll be real beyond that. I don't know how many of you kind of sit around and watch press conferences all day, but I will tell you this, is that watching Rick Pitino, and I think I said this on the Thursday night show, watching Rick Pitino coming out of the game against, who did they play? Omaha in the opening round. I felt like his demeanor completely changed going into this game, coming out of the opening round when he did, in fact, have to face John Calipari and the Razorbacks. Because if you followed Pitino all year, and this is not let's tear down Rick Pitino, he's a Hall of Famer. I have argued he is the greatest coach to ever walk a sideline in college basketball. I'm not backing off that take. It might not be right, but I have no problem saying that I think that he is as good as anybody to ever do this. But if you've followed Rick Pitino all year, this has been kind of a Rick Pitino, celebration, for lack of a better term. This guy was forced out of college basketball, 5, 6, 7 years ago, goes to Greece, comes back to Iona, gets to St. John's. Year one's up and down, but if you were watching last year, you could see them making strides by the end of the year. And I just bring it up because every single thing, basically since October, remember, he went to Rupp Arena in October for Big Blue Madness, was cheered there, was celebrated there. This whole season has been a coronation for Rick Pitino. One of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest ever, selling out Madison Square Garden. New York City taking over, college basketball taking over New York City, They're on Fallon. He's all smiles. He's making jokes. By the way, you win the Big East regular season title a few weeks ago at Madison Square Garden. You win the Big East Conference postseason title. You got all your old buddies from Louisville there. And it's been all smiles. And I am telling you, Go back and watch the press clippings and the press conference from after the Omaha game and going into the game, the Friday media availability. You could see Rick Pitino was not that guy. The clip that went viral was the one of him saying something to the effect of, "This isn't me versus Cal. He doesn't have to worry about my jump shot. He hasn't for a while." Everybody got a kick out of that quote. But if you go back and actually watch the full segment, you can tell he's kind of annoyed that it's right after the Omaha game. He's already being asked about Calipari. And the one thing we can say, as much as, and again, listen, I'll say this. I have been praiseworthy of Rick Pitino. When Arkansas started 0-5 in the SEC, I was as critical of Calipari as I have ever been in my career. But you could tell that Calipari had confidence coming into this game, and Rick Pitino did not. So Arkansas, just an unbelievable win. By the way, drop your comments in. We'll get to your comments as quickly as we can. We will obviously prioritize Super Chats as much as we possibly can as well. But a couple things here. First of all, let's give credit to the players on the floor, okay? Again, I thought Arkansas, by the way, Calipari, the guy that, he just rolls the ball out. Oh, he's not a good X's and O's guy. Oh, he's not this. Oh, he's not that. Okay, that's fine. But his team came out better prepared. They came out more hungry. I would argue this. Second half, when they take that big lead, I think got to about 12, 13 points. I thought it was the first time that I have seen St. John's all year get out-toughed, out-physicaled, out whatever. But more than just what happened on the court, let's talk about behind the scenes. And I think we've talked about it on this show. By the way, we'll have more on this game on the Sunday show. But, when you look at this Arkansas team, it would have been so easy for this team to give up late in the middle of the season. It would have been so easy for them to start 0-5, Boogie Flan goes down, and basically just say, you know what, screw it. We're giving up on the season. It is what it is. You got to remember, outside of Trevor Brazil, none of these guys had ever been to Arkansas, had played at Arkansas before this season. And so when you look at this team, when you look at this program, DJ Wagner wasn't grew up wanting to be a Razorback. That's no disrespect. It's just reality. Nelly Davis, Jonas Adu. And it would have been easy to say, we got our NIL money, screw it, we're out after this year, or we might transfer, whatever. And they stayed the course. And the one thing I will say, if you listen to this show, I think we've been on this pretty good, is that for the last probably about 6 weeks, I think Arkansas has kind of been like a top 20 team. I'm not saying they're better than Duke. I'm not saying they're better than Auburn. But you go back. Remember, we talked about it after the South Carolina loss in the not in the SEC tournament, in the second to last, third to last game of the regular season. And what we talked about at that time, if you remember, they had 12, 13 points at halftime. Calipari after the game just says, burn the tape. I told the players, don't foul. Let's get out of here. Let's get on the bus. Let's do whatever. And Calipari took a lot of heat for that. Oh, he doesn't care. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. And you know what I said at that moment? I said that's the right attitude. And Calipari had some line about this was the first bad game we've played in a month. And again, another thing that Calipari was criticized for. Well, I bring it up because if you had actually paid attention, I think they had been 5-3 in their last eight or whatever it was. The 3 losses, easily could have won at Auburn, easily could have beaten Alabama at home, easily could have won at Texas A&M. So they were getting better. Then over the final month of the season, think about the teams they beat. 1 at Rupp Arena, 1 at Vandy, NCAA tournament team, beat Mississippi State on the last day of the regular season. Easily could have beat Ole Miss. And so they find a way, they figure it out, and they were playing better coming into this tournament. And then again, it goes back to what I said a second ago of this just felt like the team that St. John's didn't want. Rick Pitino would never say it publicly, but this was the team that St. John's didn't want because it was certainly the biggest, certainly the most athletic team that they have faced. And they were the one team that St. John's would not be able to dictate terms of this game. And so credit to John Calipari. By the way, let me say this. If we want to just tear down Cal all the time, every time he loses a game, was it the best day for Rick Pitino? Again, Hall of Famer. Everybody has a bad day on the job. But everybody on Twitter was saying the same thing. Why is the Big East Player of the Year on the bench to end the game? I don't blame him because Kadari Richmond couldn't stay out of foul trouble. I thought the refs hijacked Kadari Richmond's afternoon. But how about this? Jonas Adu comes in with 8 minutes left and 4 fouls. They never got the ball to Zuby Ejiofor. They never got the ball to Zuby Ejiofor. I think if you get Jonas Adu out of that game, it potentially changes the game. So you look at Patino, have a chance to foul out Arkansas's most important big guy. You look at Patino, putting RJ Luis on the bench and not bringing him back in when you desperately needed points late. This was about as bad of an effort as you will see, period, point blank, from Patino. But really, to me, the story is Arkansas. The story is John Calipari. If I can be quick, one, let's give credit to the players. We just talked about the fact none of them have any affiliation with the school of Arkansas outside of Trevin Brazil. It would have been so easy for them to very simply say, you know what, I got my NL, I'm out. So credit to the players for staying the course. Credit to the players for believing. And you know what? Let's do it. And it's going to piss some people off, and I just don't care. Can we credit John Calipari, okay? First of all, one, listen, I don't even know where to start, okay? I don't even know where to start because I'm not going to sit here. One thing I think the reason the audience appreciates me, I don't lie to you. I don't BS you. I don't pretend like I didn't say stuff that I did. I said after that 0-5 start, I said, if I'm Calipari, he looked miserable. I said, why are you doing this if you're going to be miserable? But you go back to this whole situation. Couple things are true. One, we talked about it all last March, all last April, all last May, into the summer, into the season. I think the start over from the previous school was the best for everybody. I think Mark Pope's going to crush at Kentucky. I think John Calipari needed a fresh start. I think it was completely toxic there on both sides. I'm not blaming for a Kentucky fan that's watching this or sees it after the fact. This isn't a let's bash Kentucky segment. By the way, this is not a Kentucky shirt that I'm wearing, by the way. This is Cal State San Bernardino, by the way. Shout out to Gus Argenal, former Arkansas assistant under Eric Musselman. But this is not a Kentucky shirt, okay? But I bring it up because, listen, I thought it was great for everybody. I still go back to that Oakland game last year. And I remember saying as he walked off the court, I said, he can't be back at Kentucky next year. It is going to be too much of a disaster. And I'll go back to what I said when the whole situation went down with Arkansas. I said, if he wants to coach, that's fine. Why don't you just retire? You're 65, you're 66, you've done it all. You're a Hall of Famer. Why are you doing this? And instead, he decides to come back. He decides to go to Arkansas. People had their doubts. He's checked out. He's not doing media. He doesn't want to be there. Remember the thing in the fall? Oh, he's never done the Woo Pig Suey. He's never done the Woo Pig Suey. So that must mean he hates it there and wishes he was at Kentucky. It took him some time. It took his staff some time. It took the players some time. But you talk about a John Calipari revenge tour. Two guys that are his contemporaries that nobody thinks he's on the level with, X's and O's wise, beats Bill Self, beats Rick Pitino. And I'm just going to say it. I'm happy for him. I thought for all the good that he did at Kentucky over the years, I thought it was time to go. But I thought he got a little bit of a raw deal on the way out. I didn't like I still think it's weird. Like, if you just don't want to root against Arkansas, that's fine. That's your SEC rival. I get it. But, like, actively rooting for them to fail and putting out a meme. Like, they lost to the SEC tournament at the buzzer to Ole Miss, which is an NCAA tournament team playing to go to the second weekend of the tournament. People are tweeting out memes of, like, LOL, Calipari, what a clown. It's like, bro, he's doing it. This is one of his best coaching jobs. By the way, let me say this. Seth Greenberg got a lot of criticism. I don't know, Seth. I don't have any affiliation with the one way or the other. But he said about 2-3 weeks ago, he said this is one of the best jobs John Calipari has done. And everybody's making fun of Seth Greenberg. And everybody's saying, oh, Seth Greenberg, Calipari's, whatever in the media. I don't even know what the right term would be. And I said, like, am I missing something? I do kind of think it is the best coaching job of that John Calipari has done in a long time. And so he proved the doubters wrong. He gets the win. And we'll see what happens. This team, I'm telling you, has been playing as well as just about anybody over the last month. I don't know what else there is to add. I really don't. Listen, if it makes me biased, I'm happy for Cal. By the way, I was happy for Pitino when he got his little revival during the season, when he proved his doubters wrong. I've been happy for whoever. I'm happy for Cal, man. He got a lot of negativity. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He deserves this moment. Now we'll see what happens. They get the winner of Texas Tech versus Drake in in San Francisco. By the way, I have to do Fox Sports Radio Wednesday night till 11 Pacific, and then I'm back on air Friday at noon Pacific. In theory, I could shoot up to San Francisco for the afternoon to watch the games. Probably would have to take the first flight out in the morning to do my radio shift. I don't think I'm going to make it, but man, oh man, oh man, what a game. What a turnaround. And we'll see, by the way, now it's not done. Now it's you just made the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Now how far can you go? I think they actually match up pretty well with the I actually think they match up pretty well with Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a crazy three-point shooting team. Drake, listen, that's what Cal doesn't want, right? Is that lower seeded team that just everybody's picking you. All of a sudden, everybody's on your side. All of a sudden, everybody believes in you again. So we will see who they get. We will have an answer by the end. I'm happy for Cal, man. I'm just going to say it. It's not let's hate Rick Pitino. Let's hate Rick Pitino. That's not what this is about. But Cal has taken so much crap. Even during the game, I saw the memes from a certain fan base. And by the way, I've said it before and I'll say it again. 99.9% of the Kentucky fan base is awesome and has been awesome to me. Point one has been weird about this Calipari thing. It's over. Move on. When you play them, boo the crap out of them. When when you're not playing them, you don't have to cheer for them. But like actively rooting for a dude to fail is kind of weird energy. Let's see here. Let's get to a few comments before we get out of here. Okay, so Torres said 2 months ago, you said there was no hope left for Calipari. So that's not totally true. What I said after the 0-5 start, remember, and I'll show you the clip, there was a predictor that basically said something to the effect of Arkansas has an 8% chance or something to get an at-large bid. I said, they play in the SEC. Like, they can make a run. I'm just not sold that they will. They've given us no reason to believe that they actually can. But I said the games will be there. The opportunities will be there, and credit to them. They took advantage on that. Let's see here. Who else we got? I love this. The Hog Wild podcast said, F the refs, we won anyway. Listen, is this a safe space? Can I share something? I don't want to get in trouble with the St. John's fans. I thought the refereeing was abominable on both sides. I thought it was worse for Arkansas. I did. Big Z falling out in probably about 9-10 minutes of game time action. Jonas Adu had 4 the whole game. We haven't even talked about the Trevor Brazil flagrant foul. Zuby Ejiofor. By the way, I like Zuby. He's a beast. Kansas could have used him. Zuby Ejiofor got pushed out of Kansas to bring in Hunter Dickinson, okay? But I bring it up because Zuby Ejiofor turns around and two-handed shoves Trevin Brazil, and Trevin Brazil pushes back and gets called for the flagrant after they went to the monitor. So it's like, what are we doing here? By the way, Carter Knox was apparently called for a technical that no one explained, so that's weird. And then I just thought the refereeing was abominable on both sides, a little bit more for Arkansas. Let's go here. Mike Jones, you got to DM me privately, bro, because I think you have some good recruiting insight that you're not sharing with the public. Mike Jones says, just remember, Rick Pitino says he's not recruiting freshmen, then gets beat by a team with 3 freshmen playing heavy minutes. That's the one thing about Coach Cal, right? The thing about Cal, it's unbelievable. First of all, let's say this. Every single dude on that team, I think, is better today than they were the start of the season. Now, you could argue, okay, maybe not Boogie Fland. He missed 2 months, okay? But Jonas Adu's a different player. Couldn't see it today because he was in foul trouble, but what do you have, 22 points today? DJ Wagner, completely different player. Billy Richmond, Carter Knox, you go on and on. But what I will say is those dudes, like Carter Knox, whatever his brain wiring is, I need some of that because that is the most fearless dude I've ever. He's just like, I'm going to pump fake and drive on 11 dudes and try and dunk on all other 9 guys on the court. I don't care. Billy Richmond's basically the same. Billy Richmond, my phrase whenever I see him checking in, Billy Richmond's coming in to break some, excuse my language, I'm going to say it. Billy Richmond's coming in to break some shit. Like, he's going to full speed ahead. Maybe he gets fouled. Maybe he makes a layup. Maybe he misses a layup. Maybe he falls, on the floor and cracks his ribs. He's just playing full speed ahead. So I think there's something to, but what I will say, Mike Jones, is I do think there is something to the fact that, in my opinion, you're talking about a scenario where with Arkansas is that those guys are getting better. That is the incredible part of all of this. So hold on one second here. This guy right here. Nobody ever listens to Torres. Nobody ever listens to freaking Torres. Give me 1 second, okay? Give me 1 second. Hold on. Let me ask you guys and girls a question. I don't have any kids, but you ever have kids that basically you tell them exactly what to do and then they just don't listen and they just do the exact opposite of what you want? We just had a situation like that with one of my interns. Love my interns. All the Torres on pages are run by interns, except for Torres on UConn. I run that one. I had a little issue. Whatever. It's all good. But listen, Patino, let me defend Patino there for half a second, because when Patino said he's not recruiting freshmen, I think part of that is his age. I think part of it is like, dude, I might not be around for another 4 or 5 years while you play college basketball. So maybe it's best that you go somewhere else if you're going to need time. Now, again, I think if, if Cam Boozer wanted to come to St. John's, he would take him. I just don't think he's recruiting freshmen. I'll say this really quick. I'm actually very interested to see what Rick Pitino does this offseason, because now all of a sudden, one, he's got unlimited money, but two, more importantly, everybody wants to come play for him. And so I'll be curious. They're supposedly having Bryce Hopkins on campus this weekend. He doesn't feel like a St. John's player. Whatever. Let's get to some more questions, some more comments. Let's see here. This is good. Spike Lee crying right now, says Razorbacks fan. Spike Lee crying right now. Let's get to some of the other ones. Arkansas, Chad says Arkansas was clearly the better team, should have won by 20 if the game was called fairly. I think there's absolutely an argument to that. I think there's absolutely an argument to the fact that this is probably not nearly as close of a game if the game is called. Again, I saw my buddy Curtis Wilkerson say this, is like Zuby Ejiofor somehow ended the game with 2 fouls, including one that was called back after it was called on Ejiofor. And so I just bring it up because, listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying I thought the refereeing favored St. John's. I mean, Jonas Adu basically could not play in this game. Big Z could not play. Trevin Brazil stayed out of foul trouble but got a bogus tech. Big Z had 5 fouls in 10 minutes. Jonas Adu had 4 fouls in 22 minutes, but basically played the final 8 minutes. So basically 4 fouls in 16 minutes of real time. Let's see here. Who else? Boogie Flam, by the way, had 1 million fouls. Nelly Davis. It was funny. In the middle of the game, I was like, why is Cal not playing Nelly Davis more? And then I was like, oh, he has a bunch of fouls. So Arkansas gets the win. I think we're going to roll. We're going to add, let's see here. Let's go here. You think Arkansas just won the Natty? No, I don't, but I think it was a great win. I think nobody was picking them. I will be there, says the Hog Wild podcast. Is that San Francisco? I'm thinking about going up. I mean, listen, it's a 30-minute flight for me. I do Fox Sports Radio till 11 p.m. on Wednesday night. Then I do it again by the way, I assume it's a Thursday night game. I don't even know. I'm thinking about it, but whatever. Let's see here. Hey, Torres, I also firmly believe that a high key doesn't make it out of the first round. 2 Hall of Fame coach. I don't even know what some of this is. Kadari fouling out was insane. Jay, I don't know if you're just joining the chat because this came in about 3-4 minutes ago. I said refs were terrible on both sides. I think they were worse for Arkansas, but that was an abomination by the refs. And Kadari Richmond fouling out, basically having no playing time, was an embarrassment for. Let me say this really quick. Let me do a quick ref thing before we get out of here. Embarrassing. Like I said, a couple things. One, I'll just say it. You had some of the very good media members. One thing about me, I'll say whatever I feel. I'll be controversial. I don't care. It was obvious early the refs lost control of that game. But when you have some of the most lukewarm, never say anything controversial media members like, yeah, the refs are kind of taking over this game, it was bad. So that's one about the refs. Two, this is such a big stage for listen, I'm going to talk college basketball pretty much every episode 365. Okay. Every single time I do a show, there's probably going to be some sort of college basketball related segment. The counter to that is that when we get a standalone game between two Hall of Fame coaches in the NCAA tournament, can you let the players play a little bit? It's like, what are we doing? It was awful for both sides. For any St. John's fans joining late, this is not a Arkansas got screwed by the refs. Both teams got screwed by the refs. I thought the game got hijacked by the refs. I do think it was a little worse for Arkansas. Again, Zuby Ejiofor somehow finished the game with three in the end, including one that got called back. But it's like, what it was such a big moment for this sport, and I just did not understand how it got hijacked like that. A.R. Mathis says this, great comment. Cal team has the length and depth, and they can get to a Final Four. So I totally agree. I mean, I think Arkansas can absolutely get to a Final Four. The big thing is now, not the big pig invasion. The big thing is this, is that can they come, listen, that's the biggest win of their season. It's probably as big as Rupp, right? I mean, Rupp was kind of a different beast, but this is probably bigger considering the stakes, lose and your season's over. But the counter to that is now that you did it, you got to play again in 5 days? You're going to have to go back you'll be back in Fayetteville Saturday night. You're going to have to fly back out on Tuesday to get to San Francisco cross-country flight. So are you going to be able to recover in time to play whoever you're going to play? Now, the good news is whoever you're going to play also is playing on Saturday. So they're going to have the same travel. Lubbock, I can't imagine, or Des Moines, Iowa is that much different of a flight to San Francisco. But you have to be able to recover. You have to be able to react, because if not, you're not going to be able to do whatever. A couple more, we'll get out of here. Our guy says the Buddy Toker, woo damn pig, it's the big pig invasion. Big pig invasion. Yeah, you know all about the big pig invasion, people. That's right. You can get your t-shirts, AaronTorresOnline.com/merchandise. AaronTorresOnline.com/merchandise. There's Cal. Where's the shirt? There's the shirt, the big pig invasion. Big pig invasion. Arkansas gets the win. Get your t-shirt, AaronTorresOnline.com/merchandise. Couple more, we'll get out of here. Thank you for your honesty and shout out. It's my pleasure. A.R. Mathis says Cal's going to end up winning a natty with this team, isn't he? That'd be one of the great comeback stories ever, right? If he went on and won a national championship with this team, that's like an all-time, that's like a 30 for 30 that gets made this summer. Like by the way, shout out to Vice. Vice TV picked two pretty good teams to follow over the course of this season because they had the Arkansas story, they had the St. John story, they end up meeting in Providence. But if they end up winning a natty, I'll tell you this, it'd be a very, very, very interesting, it'd be a great story. The Calipari revival, it'd be interesting to see how maybe some other fan bases would react to that. Michael Hill, let's talk about this. By the way, actually, Michael says, how would he match up with Texas Tech? I think he actually match up pretty well. They go really hot and really cold from three. I think the big thing for Arkansas against Texas Tech is that I think the big thing against Texas, they get super hot and super cold from three. So you just can't let them get super hot to start the game and you're down 24-8 because they went 6 of 7 to start the game. I don't know what else there is to say. By the way, we got plenty of time to preview that one. Trent says the officiating was horrible on both ends of the floor. Wow, I agree. However, we do have, looks like a St. John's fan, right-handed downtown from Brooklyn. I love you. He says, call it fair. They got all the calls. I assume it's Arkansas that you're probably talking about. All I know is that in the end, there were 24 personal fouls on Arkansas, 24 on St. John's. I would assume that's Arkansas. So, yeah. Think they match up well with both teams? Yeah, probably. But listen, I don't think it's about matchups. I think it's about getting your team refocused after an emotional game like that. Let's see here. John Calipari is greater than Rick Pitino. He's beaten Pitino 11 out of the 13 games head-to-head. That is a wild stat. Calipari, for all the flack that he's gotten this year, beats Bill Self, beats Pitino, goes to Rupp, gets the win. Not a terrible. Now, listen, there were some bad moments along the way. We've talked about all of them, but unbelievable season for Arkansas, but, could just be getting started. I'll tell you this. We weren't planning on doing live shows in San Antonio. We get to San Antonio and Arkansas is there. We're going to have to do some live shows, but that gets over the refs. All right. A lot of stuff on the refs. We're going to get out of here. Refs got way too involved in this one. Listen, we all agree. We all agree on the refs. That was abominable. That was embarrassing. And it was just embarrassing for the sport. As somebody who, tries to cover this sport as much as we can, I love the sport. If you're listening to this show, I know you love the sport. It's just an embarrassing thing for the referees to take over a game like that on a national stage. By the way, this wasn't one of 4 games on a Thursday night. This was a standalone game that CBS very specifically put in that time slot to try and take advantage of Calipari versus Pitino, and the refs hijacked it. So we'll get to 1 or 2 more questions, and we'll get out of here. We have gone live for 35 minutes. Let's see here. Razorbacks, it just means more. Overreaction as usual. Corey says, is it an overreaction? I said on Sunday's show I thought they could win. Nobody else said anything. I didn't see anybody else say that Arkansas even had a chance. Arkansas fans did, and Arkansas media that's watched the team did. Nobody else in the media did. The one thing I will agree, and I've seen this comment a little bit in the chat, Florida's about the worst possible matchup for Arkansas because they're just as tough as anybody, but they're also just as athletic as Arkansas, super physical, and they're super skilled offensively. So if we get that in an Elite 8, that would be a hell of a game next Saturday, but we'll see if it happens. Tell you what, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. If you're not subscribed, Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel, new clips, new videos going up every single day. We've reached 52,000 subscribers. We're getting pretty darn close to, so make sure you're subscribed. Also, make sure to rate and review on Apple and Spotify. By the way, you want to do your boy Torres a favor? Go over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Just go ahead and download a bunch of old episodes. That would be clutch. Pump up those numbers here for March. I need to see at least like 5,000 extra downloads more than normal today from this show. So make sure to go ahead and download the podcast. This will be up on podcast here shortly. By the way, let me say this really quickly. Cletus Morel just brought up a great point that probably we need to address here. And a guy you talk about that Arkansas needed on Saturday, they did get. They should get back. Let's see here. Cletus says, Arkansas gets Thero back for the Sweet 16. It's a great point because the one thing they needed today was another big body, another physical body. You get a Dew back, maybe you can compete with Florida. Now, what I do hope with Cal, keep the starting 5 the way that it's been. They're playing so well. The last 2 games, it's been DJ, Janelle Davis. It's been Carter Knox. It's been Trevin Brazil and Jonas Adu. That's a great starting 5. Adu's going to be your highest draft pick. Adu should be coming off the bench just like Boogie Fland is coming off the bench. What a day. Cletus points it out. Arkansas just may have the opportunity to get back to they're going to the second weekend. I don't even know what else there is to say. I appreciate your support. Download a couple podcasts. Appreciate everybody. Give me a 5-star rating and review if you want. By the way, last thought. Ray Ross says, you just like to talk. Well, you just like to listen, Ray Ross, apparently. So, deal with it, Buttercup. I had a last thought, but now Ray Ross got me all screwed up. By the way, full episode Sunday night. Also, Monday, we're jumping right into the portal. I know it'll be Sweet 16. Everybody's going to want to talk about that. We're talking portal. I don't know if we'll go live, if we'll do a reaction, whatever. Portal talk Monday. Oh, it's good. This is the most fun time of year. Sweet 16, portals open. This is where you need to be locked in. So we appreciate everybody's support. Thank you for checking in. And, we'll be back Sunday night for sure. I agree on Sunday night for sure. Appreciate you all. Yes, I called one of my listeners Buttercup.